You've been watching your life tighten in places where it used to breathe, doors closing without an argument, people shifting their tone without saying why, bills arriving with the cold confidence that you'll find a way. And the strangest part is that while you feel more exposed than ever, you're also being kept from something you can't see. Not protected in a dramatic way, not rescued with fireworks, but held back with a quiet force that makes you question yourself at night. If you're carrying that feeling, like you're being delayed, overlooked, and tested all at once, then you're standing in a kind of spiritual intersection where Allah often trains the heart before He changes the scene. The mind tends to grab the easiest explanation when things get heavy. I must be cursed. I must be failing. I must have missed my chance. When relief doesn't come on your schedule, you start translating silence as rejection. You see others moving forward, receiving opportunities, talking about wins, and you assume the difference is that Allah favors them more. But that interpretation is usually built on a shallow reading of time. Divine timing is not a reward for the loudest prayers or the prettiest plans. It is a curriculum. Sometimes Allah withholds what you want because what you want would arrive in the wrong version of you, and it would break you instead of building you. There is another false conclusion people make, especially when provision feels tight. They begin to chase anything that looks like an exit. They take shortcuts that taste like relief. They say yes to deals that demand their dignity. They attach themselves to people who promise help but quietly drain their soul. They tell themselves it's being practical, but deep down it's panic disguised as logic. The test isn't only whether you get through hardship, the test is what hardship pulls out of you. Do you become reckless, or do you become rooted? Do you start bargaining with your principles, or do you let tawakkul sharpen inside you until you can stand in a storm without turning into it? Here's the counterexample that should stop you in your tracks. Some people receive money, recognition, and open doors, while their inner life collapses. You've seen it without naming it. Someone's life looks upgraded, but their peace looks like it's on life support. They laugh more loudly, spend more freely, post more confidently, and yet they are constantly anxious, constantly comparing, constantly afraid it could all disappear. That isn't provision. That's a trial wearing gold. Sometimes Allah keeps your hands empty for a season because He is keeping your heart intact. So, when provision does come, it doesn't drag you away from Him. If this resonates and you want more reminders like this when life feels confusing, you can leave a calm, like on the video. It helps it reach people who are quietly carrying the same weight. Look at how Allah teaches through everyday scenes, not just big moments. Imagine a person who checks their bank balance before Fajr, then again at noon, then again at night, as if staring at numbers can summon mercy faster. They open messages with a tight chest, hoping for a reply that changes everything. They scroll through job listings, opportunities, or business ideas until their mind is tired and their spirit is thin. But in the middle of that, a small interruption happens. An unexpected kindness, a bill postponed, a friend sending food, a door that closes that would have led them into debt with the wrong people. This is the kind of protection that doesn't look holy until you realize what it prevented. Allah's mercy often arrives as a no that saves you from a future you were about to beg for. You also need to understand the reality of hidden enemies, because not every delay is random. Sometimes your path slows down because Allah is removing people who would have celebrated your fall more than your rise. Not every smile is support, and not every "I'm happy for you" is sincere. There are hearts that resent what they can't control, and they express it through subtle sabotage, discouraging comments, concern that kills your confidence, advice that always leads you back to staying small. But you're not asked to become paranoid or bitter. You're asked to become discerning. When Allah isolates you, it can feel like punishment, but often it's a shield. Loneliness is not always emptiness. Sometimes it's separation from noise, so your soul can hear what it has been drowning out. Now comes the part that feels hardest. Spiritual discipline, when nothing is improving on the surface. When your results are slow, your nafs looks for the proof that your effort matters. It wants immediate returns, visible signs, quick relief. But the believer learns a different measurement. You measure by consistency, not by applause. You measure by whether you still pray with sincerity when life is dry. You measure by whether you still hold your tongue when you're provoked, whether you still earn clean money when shortcuts call your name, whether you still ask Allah for what you want without demanding it like you deserve it. This is sabr, not as passive waiting, but as active restraint, staying aligned while the world tries to pull you crooked. There's a behavioral contrast that changes everything. One person under pressure becomes frantic. They announce their stress to everyone. They argue with family. They blame friends. They rehearse worst-case scenarios like a ritual. Another person under pressure becomes deliberate. They reduce their complaints. They tighten their spending without losing generosity. They stop chasing validation. They make istighfar quietly. They walk away from conversations that trigger envy or despair. Both people feel fear, but only one of them uses fear as fuel for worship instead of fuel for chaos. And here's the nuance. Being deliberate doesn't mean you don't take action. You still apply, still work, still plan, still ask for help. You just refuse to turn your heart into a marketplace where panic sets the prices. If you've experienced a season where you had to choose between anxious chasing and calm trust, leave a comment answering one question. What was the hardest habit you had to let go of to protect your faith? Let's talk about the money theme in a grounded way, because provision is real and so are the whispers that twist it. You may receive unexpected money. Yes, through a new job, a debt being repaid, an opportunity you didn't see, or support that arrives at the last moment. Allah can open doors in ways that surprise you, but the deeper point isn't the amount, it's the manner. When provision comes with Barakah, it doesn't just increase your options, it increases your steadiness. It doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you grateful. It doesn't make you careless, it makes you more responsible. And it doesn't need to be dramatic to be life-changing. Sometimes the unexpected part is that you gain what you need without losing who you are, without selling your conscience, without bending your worship around your desires. Here is the quiet ending that most people miss. You are not being shaped for a moment, you are being shaped for a life. If Allah is training you through a delay, through loneliness, through the feeling of being misunderstood, then the point is not to make you superior to anyone. The point is to make you sincere. Because when things finally shift, when relief comes, when the numbers improve, when the door opens, you won't be standing there as the same person who used to panic at every uncertainty. You'll be someone who knows the difference between being helped and being tested, between a blessing that lifts you and a temptation that owns you. And that kind of strength doesn't announce itself. It shows up quietly. The moment the world gives you a reason to forget Allah, and you remember Him anyway.